Hey guys, this is Tad, your homestead provider. We're back here in the kitchen. Today we're going to make some squash relish. Now, I know I'm all the time trying to figure out something to do with the enormous amount of squash I get in at one time. Whenever the garden starts putting out, a lot of times this is the first thing that comes in is the squash. And I highly recommend this squash relish recipe. I can almost guarantee you I will eat every bit that I make before next spring. I can guarantee you that. It is so good. But we're going to go through the process of doing that. We're going to can it. I will put the recipe down in the description. That way, if you decide you want to try it out, and you can do it and have the recipe there. But like I said, I highly recommend it. So hang out with us and we'll go through this process. All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I got my food processor. Now I'm going to use the slicing attachment on this processor right here, and we're going to put it down in here and cut up all of our vegetables with the slicing element there. Now this recipe calls for 2 cups of onions, a red bell pepper, a green bell pepper, and 10 cups of squash. Now, I'm going to approximate, that might be a little bit more than 10 cups of squash, but I'm going to slice it all up and I'm going to add it together. Now, I've got these little bitty bell peppers that come out of the garden, and I'm going to say 3 of them equals 1. And I ended up buying a bell pepper at the red bell pepper at the grocery store. Then I've got 2 onions. It calls for 2 cups of onions. I'm going to say that may be a cup. It's probably a little over a cup. So I'm going to cut up 2 full onions and we'll put it in there. So let's get to it. Now, I'm going to turn this on low and start using this slicing. Alright, now I got all the vegetables sliced, and I got them in this pot right here. Now the recipe says to fill it up with water, put ice in it, and let it sit in the refrigerator for an hour and a half to kind of chill everything. So we're going to go through, we're going to do that. And I actually measured out the squash. It ended up being about 12 cups. You know, I went ahead and went with it. We're going to go with it for now, because every little bit I can get helps, because I like it so much. But we're gonna fill it up with water, put some ice in it, and set it in the refrigerator, and we'll be back here in a minute. All right, guys. So I've let this chill in the refrigerator for an hour and a half, and I've drained it off and rinsed it all out real good. And I've sort of mixed it up a little bit, no big deal. But we're fixing to start adding our ingredients here. You have to do 3 cups of sugar. I use organic. So I'm going to pour this in here. There's 3 cups of that. Then we're going to add 2 cups of white vinegar. So there's 1. And there's 2. Set that back over there. I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of sugar, and as always, I use Redmond's salt. I use Redmond's real salt. So there's that. And we're going to do 1 tablespoon of mustard seed. Now I like mustard seed, so, and this is a little bit over a recipe. Full recipe, so I'm gonna do probably 1.5. There's 1.5 right there, and we are going to add 1 tablespoon of celery seed. Same thing. I'm probably going to add just a little bit more right in there, and one jar of pimentos. So I didn't grow these. I didn't think about growing them this year for some reason. It'd been awesome if I did. Could have used my own ingredients, but I'm gonna drain this pimento jar a little bit right here, get some of the water out of it, and then we're gonna add that to it. Just go ahead and dump them in there. Alright, so I'm gonna mix this up a little bit. We're gonna turn it on medium heat, bring it to boil. Once it gets to a boil, we will put it in the jars, and then we'll water bath it for 15 minutes after we have it sealed in the jars. So I'm gonna get this started heating up. I'm gonna mix it up, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so our relish here has just been boiling for just a minute or so. I turned it off, so I'm fixing to start putting this in jars so we can start the water bathing. So let's go on and go through that. Now I'm putting this in pints. You can probably put it in quarts. I probably should put it in quarts because I eat so much of it, but I've got more pint jars than I do quarts, so that's what I'm going to use for now. And I have got all my jars in here warm in the oven, and back here in the back I've got all my lids warming up just as usual. So pull one of these out here, and I am going to wipe the rim off with a paper towel, just like always. Seal it down, and I'm gonna put it in the water bath right here. So let's just keep on going. I'll do it till I fill up the canner. This here is going to make several pints, looks like, which is good. More the better. Get another out. So I eat this all the time on beans and peas. I've also ate it on a hot dog before. It's really good. I know somebody that's just ate it out of the jar. It was so good. But it's a good recipe to do with all your extra squash. Whenever, like I said earlier, whenever you can't figure out what to do with it. I'm gonna get I'll end up getting several pints out of this. So, and you can see whenever I was chopping it up, some of the squash was kind of big, but whenever you go to heating it up and all that, it kind of softens it up a little bit, so it's not tough or nothing like that. Alright now guys, I've got all of it put in jars right here, and we're gonna start it boiling, start it water bathing both of them for 15 minutes. I run out of room in my big canner, so I put a little one over here in some water, and we'll just water bath it like that right over there. It'll work, should work pretty good. So we'll be back here in a few minutes. Alright, now we got our 15-minute water bath done. I allowed it to cool down some and got them out of the water bath, and they're sitting here. I've already heard a few starting to pop, so we're just gonna let them sit here and seal as they cool off. But we ended up with 11 pints, so that's pretty good mess of relish there. It'll almost guaranteed you every bit of that'll be gone. So anyway, if you like what we're doing, if you're enjoying these videos, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, because you never know what we're going to be doing next. So this is Tad, your homestead provider. God bless.